Welcome back, dear viewers. As we said earlier that we are going to talk about the performance of the Egyptian economy in light of the recent drop in the US dollar versus Egyptian pounds. We'll try to shed light on this and to what extent it reflects sound economic Egyptian policies. And to shed more light on this issue, we are joined here in the studio with Ambassador Dr. محمد الحسيني. He is Committee Director in the United Nations. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Ambassador, and we hope that you are still optimistic.
Yeah.
As always.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what's the reason behind your optimism?
Actually, the first thing is I wanted to say good morning to all the Egyptian citizens, and I wanted to them to be optimistic about our administration, because as we trust them, we face our problem, as what I say before, that always that we have a negative energy as an Egyptians because we just take words and promises and nothing was happening in the ground. But then when we find this administration, they have give us a report about what is the problem we are facing in the economic line, and how we can face that and how we can go in a new era of achievements. In the middle of the operation, in the middle of the challenges we have, all of us have lose hope. But we didn't lost our belief in God and our belief that Egypt will change. All the Egyptian citizen was monitoring what's happening in the markets, what's happening to them countries in the last 3 months. Floating the pound, it's happened in November. So starting from November 2016, when they take this brave decision, there was in the international economic field, in the local market, there was a lot of people who were saying that was a wrong decision had been taken by the central bank. But in the other hand, we find out that as how I was attending a conference previously last month, that the national banks and the private banks in Egypt have a big float of the dollar since the floating of the pound. We find out the prices increased 300%. We found out that the pound it's reached 20 pounds. We found out that as an Egyptian, as a normal Egyptian family, we are in a crisis. So why we will be optimistic about that? We, as you see, the last 2 weeks, the dollar against the pound have go down in 4 pounds. So when we compute that, or we wanted to analyze why that happened, there is particular reasons for uprising the pound against the dollar. The first thing, as what we see it, that all our banks, the central bank, he reached $26.4 billion, and that was achievement. The second thing, the International Economic Organization have rated Egypt in a good rate based of a stable economy or a stable development economy. Number 3, the foreign investment have increased. Number 4, the investment law already in the execution point. Number 5, we control the imported goods which is coming to our country, which is already taking something like 86% of the capacity of the consumer operation. So when you compute all of that things, there was a lack in some particular points, which is in China, they have now the long vacations they started, and you are not in the Ramadan or the months that you need to import a lot of goods. So it's give us that all our banks now, the capacity to them in the dollar, it's already come to the reach. And the central bank, after the IMF, we received now, I think, almost $4.2 billion. So basically, this change is happening in our country. It will give any one of us an optimistic energy inside him. But we need to be watching what will happen after that.
So do you expect, or do you speculate this decline to continue?
It will not continue, because as how I mentioned before, how we float the bond based of one policy, which is the demand and supply, right? So demand and supply, it depends in your markets now.
Yes.
If the markets need the dollar or don't need the dollar. Why we need the dollar? We need the dollar because we import our goods. And most of the goods we are importing, it's food and beverage. So it's not raw material or lines of going to the lines of production to our factories. So based of that, our markets now don't need the dollar. And we have a lot of dollar in our banks, so it's go down. But when you categorize, is that downgrade to the dollar will go down? It's depend in. First thing now, all the countries and the administration looking to Trump administration in two eyes, which they will trust or they will not trust. Why? Because there was a lot of movement in the international economy to the U.S., and no one until now know how the administration will go in which line. So the dollar come down. And the second thing is, we controlling the import goods, we already encourage our factories to start the export. So when you wanted to let's say to measure how much will be the dollar against the pound, you cannot do that unless another 6 months of facing still the problems.
Okay, sir, concerning the prices of the goods and of course the food and the consuming goods, when the price of the dollar was raised, all the traders said that it's because of the dollar. The prices were raised because of the dollar. But the last week, the price of the dollar went down.
Yeah.
But the goods are still rising.
Yeah.
The prices of so why is this such a controversial issue?
The first thing is the goods come high and up like that as what the traders have announced. It's based of the dollar increase. Now, the first thing is you as the government, this is your role. That's why I told you need to watch and observe. Why? The government now, there is the Consumer Protection Authority, they need now to go on the ground. And the Egyptian Parliament need to, and this is important, need to assure there is a law will gonna to categorize the goods and the price and the profit margin to every trader. And you will not just leave the market like that. Yeah, it's based, the price go down and up based of the demand and supply. It's the same. For example, if you talk about the vegetables, if the vegetables that you are not imported, you plant it in your country, so you do need to import it. So the government will put, let's say, a laws and rules and regulation that you will not import this goods. And you will encourage the agriculture industry in your country with a lot of support to feed the markets and feed the Egyptian society with these goods. Okay, that will take a long run. We are talking now about what is the solution we can use in the meantime in the next 6 months to control our prices. The Parliament need to move in 2-3 weeks. The Consumer Protection Authority need to move. Every governor in each state, look like Cairo, Giza, Alexandria, whatever, need to. I
think also Egyptians themselves should boycott these traders.
Now
they should take stance.
Yeah, the Egyptian need to do, the Egyptian citizens themselves need to make a move in that. But now you need to understand that the Egyptian citizen, he is now suffering.
Yes.
Okay, so he don't want the imported goods. If I go and I find a watermelon from Thailand cost 200 pounds and a watermelon from El Bahira cost 5 pounds, I will get the 5 pounds, right?
Yes.
So you as the government need to support the businessmen and those who feed the market with the goods.
This is important. As we should highlight the role of Egyptians themselves in this stage.
Of course, because you have three major, let's say, doors of income to Egypt: the agriculture, the tourism, the industry. The three is still. The government is working, but it's taking a long operation. Yes. You need to cut that down. You need now, each minister needed to make a committee in the spot and go and solve the problems for all of those.
Yes.
It's not a way back time with with those factories, they have loans to the government or to the banks. No, give them a facilities. Give them a time frame that you need to support them in the ground now, because Ramadan is coming and Umrah is coming.
Yes.
Umrah
There's
is coming.
Expectations that
you was talking. Yeah, you was talking
Yes.
about the prices. Forget the prices now. You are going now in a situation is the first thing is Ramadan. An Egyptian family, the normal Egyptian family, if they consume, let's say 50 kg, 50 kilo of goods, in Ramadan they will consume 150 kilos, and the things they will not use. But this is look like a tradition in
Yes.
Egypt, right? So most of Ramadan goods is imported. So what you need to know, what you need to do now is, if you wanted the prices to go down, so you need to feed your markets with those stored goods in the storage to most of the trader. And you need to take this law, I'm saying that the Egyptian parliament need to announce now with strict rules that anyone will manipulate the price. You are a trader, you have, for example, 15% profit or 20% profit, don't go up that. So based on that, you can control the market. If you will not do that, you will not ever control the market, even the dollar reached 10 pound. So it's need a strong movement of the government. It's need a strong solution from the prime minister or from each minister to feed our markets with to supply our markets with the goods. So when you do that, I don't need to buy the imported. And you will encourage me as a business owner or a factory to go in the production lines and feed my market. And our population in Egypt, it's 90 million, it's 80 million inside the country. So any investors, and through this
Yes,
to this
it's
channel,
attracting to investors.
of course, through this channel, I'm talking to the investors worldwide. Come and invest in the food and beverage in our country, because we have a big population. It's a huge market. People here we have stages in our
Huge
community.
consumption.
Of
Yeah.
course. So if you did that, and the investors now is coming, they are already coming.
Yes.
We have a numbers that there is increase in the foreign investment. So if you take that and you put this low, so your market will be stable. Like what? Like any other strong market, look like in Europe or in East Asia. They blend them food and them factories blend them needs. So if we did that in this 2-3 months, because you have already what you call this factories, and you have already lands, it's ready. It just need a movement from each ministry and from the prime minister himself and the parliament. Support those guys, because those guys who will control the prices. Because now if an normal Egyptian family, if the income is 2,000 pound, 2,000 pound cannot do anything in the meantime, but can do that before floating the pound.
Yes.
So, okay, now we already face the problem. We are optimistic. We are happy about this new development is happening by our administration. But now we wanted to put a solution before June.
Why?
Because it's Ramadan.
Yes.
Yeah, this is because you will reach again to 21 and 22 and maybe 23.
The dollar?
Of course, you will pass that, because you will reach 90% of the supplies and the goods in our market, it's imported. Even this yamish and this stuff, it was coming from Syria and Jordan.
And
you don't have anything is in Egypt. What you have in Egypt? Nothing. So imagine it that if you in 2-3 months solve the issue and the problem to all these factories and those businessmen and traders inside the country, and you put this strict rules in the ports for the imported goods, you control your market. So you will not buy the refrigerator by 100,000 pounds. Look like what we see in the markets. It was just 20 or 25. But you will find other varieties in your market. This is the only way. Any other way, you cannot control the prices.
Why is the only fixed rate related to the dollar? Of course, concerning the prices, is the prices are the prices of the gold. When the dollar is up, the gold is up. When the dollar is down, the gold is down, and the price is fixed, and everything is stable with only the gold.
Actually, because this is it's look like what you call that. It's an international trade based of the international markets. It's a line of what is the first currency you have in the currency basket, the international currency basket, 5 currencies. Look like the pound, the UK pound, the euro, the dollar, but the top is the dollar, right? You have in the other side, because any country, if you categorize the country as a powerful country or no in the economy, I'm talking, it's how many steel tons they produce every day, okay? So when we talk about the international trade, what is the good having, look like, let's say, having the same value as the money market? It's the gold, because you cannot, the gold is the only good that all the people is using. For example, the jewelry, for example, some of the investments things. So there is a lot of lines to use the good, as there is a lot of lines to use the dollar. So the two of them equivalent to an international trade line. You cannot put the dollar with the diamond, for example, or the steel, for example. No, because the gold is number one good, and the dollar is number one currency to globe, because each country in the 250 countries in the world, they have the gold as the first, let's say, the first majority of the international goods of how the central bank or the safe let's say budget to them based on the gold. And by the way, Egypt in 1935 or 1936, it was the second country in the saving budget to the gold worldwide.
There is a stock market, I think, for the gold itself.
Of course, the same to the dollar. That's why I was talking about. This is the currencies and this is the good. The top of the currencies is the dollar, and the top of the goods is the gold. That's why the two is equivalent in one line.
So also, by the end of the week, we are expecting a visit by German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
Of course.
And I think there will be many trade agreements expected to be signed.
Yeah.
So what's your take on this?
Actually, this visit is an important visit. Why?
Yes.
Because Merkel, and there was announcement by Lagarde and some other speakers in European Union that was before 2 weeks ago. They was saying that the Egyptian economy is recovering.
Yes.
Egypt going to a stable manner. Now, there is 2 or 3 particular points that Merkel will gonna to discuss with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. The first thing is Egypt now is fighting the tourism.
Yes.
This is so
Fighting
important.
terrorism.
Yeah,
Terrorism.
of course, because now what we are facing now daily, you have a huge operation is dying in Sinai.
Yes.
And alhamdulillah that our army is accomplishing a big achievement. All the world now is announcing that you are the only country in the Middle East is fighting terrorism. The other countries, they already go down. The tourism, it's look like a cancer. They eat the countries.
Yes.
But Egypt, because we have this army, and it's a blessing from God, that now they are fighting and they already make all our borders safe. It's a message to all the people that Egypt is safe. So Merkel, once she find that, she wanted to support Egypt more in this point. The other point for the refugees. Egypt have accept almost 2.3 million refugees, Syrian and Yemen and Libyan, in the last in the last 4 years, and that happened because Egypt was the only safe country in the region. So Egypt needs support, because these refugees, they come to the country, okay, they didn't come as a tourist, that they will not spend money.
They need support.
They need support. So as you at the country now is re-stabilizing your economy, so you will also need support based of the international agreement to the human rights, that you can accept refugees, the same what happened in Jordan. So she's also coming to support Egypt in this particular thing. And there is 3 or 4 agreements will be happening in the nuclear energy, and some other agreements will be also discussing about the international trade to the export goods from Egypt. and using, there is another agreement will be done with the Education Research Ministry about using the expertise in a lot of particular
so you will also inaugurate a power plant by German.
Yeah, of course, by they are the best.
Yes,
they are number
the power
one.
Plant in the new administrative capital.
And
right?
you know what? One of the things also making me optimistic, by the way, that that project, because for me personally, Egypt the Future Conference, that was the only light point I have saw in the darkness for the last 5 years. I was assuring that after President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi promised and the administration promised that this conference outcome will come to the facts. I have write an article the last 3 days that the Egyptian development of the economy, true or a fantasy. But what I find that there look like a time frame, an accomplished project is happening. Germany was cooperating in the energy field.
Yes.
And they support us in a lot of this energy fields, basically Siemens and some other plants to the electricity and the water pumping. And there is improvement have been done.
Did they inaugurate one of the power plants established?
Now the electricity is not cutting. We have maintenance to all our plants and all the units and the operation. They are now developing a new other plants. It's in Bani Suef and other states. And Germany will they already signed an agreement, an MOA about that, and will execution points now for the start, because we are in 2017, 2018. So will be this visit is very important, because Germany now and Europe, they are facing some particular problems inside the European Union for the clubs and the problem that Greek is facing, and Spain and some other countries, and after UK have of course. So now Merkel and Germany, as usual,
they are seeking more trade partners.
Of course, and allies. And Egypt is the strongest ally to any country.
It's cornerstone of the Middle East.
Of course, it's the gem of the Middle East. So based of those administration, if they look to your country that this country there is no development, this administration there is no any running achievements, why we will go and support them? Why the IMF will gonna to give you the loan? Why all that things happen? Because these people will not help you or support you because of Egypt, the history. No, it's based of they will make an analyze about what exactly you have did in the last 6 months as an administration. As the government, did you already take the resources of this support and you put it in the right direction, or as how it was before? No, everything has been changed, and everything is going now in the good direction. That the Guardian newspaper and some international newspaper in UK, they was making a war against us. But when I read them articles, because you need to read what the West, of course, saying about you, and if you see that, if you see the last 2 weeks, they have given an optimistic article about Egypt and the administration, and they say that Egypt have cut the cancer in its economy. When I read that article, I go down. They categorized you that the Egyptian workers is working abroad, transferring the money have been increased. After floating the bond, the private banks, they have now a big capacity of the dollar. They use it now in a project for the raw material and the manufacturing, and also for the food goods. So the world is not leaving you. No, they are monitoring you, what you are doing in your country. And based on this development, now you return back to have an important point of cooperation and ally, as a strong ally with the European Union, the East Asian countries, and United States. The announcement of the administration to Trump said we wanted to work very strong with President Fattah Sisi and his administration. And yesterday they announced that all the full support is coming to the military, to Egypt, for fighting the terrorism.
Okay, sir, actually we are running out of time. We only have 2 minutes. I want you in these 2 minutes to tell me, how do you see the future of the Egyptian markets in light of the last measures took place by the government?
Actually, how I look to the Egypt market in the next 2 years, there will be a struggling in the next 6 months, and then there will be a stability in the next 6 months, and in 2018 up to the end there will be a stability, a long-run stability for the accomplished project the administration have announced, and they built the infrastructure to it. What you want to do now is, after you face your problems, as what we say, you need to put strict rules and control your markets, because without controlling your markets, you will not have a social stability in your community. And the social stability is the first major object to the stability of your economy. And you need to promote Egypt abroad. Promote your country, promote the tourist industry you have, promote your goods abroad, because the competition in us after floating the pound is more easy to us.
Well, Ambassador Ahmed Al-Husseini, the head of the Economic Committee at the United Nations, thank you very much for joining us.
My
and
pleasure.
Welcome once again to Breakfast Show.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And now, dear viewers, we'll have a report on late Ahmed Zuweil, as on the occasion of late Dr. Ahmed Zuweil's birthday. The Zuweil City for Science and Technology held a ceremony to share precious moments of him as a public figure and a great scientist. Our correspondent Shiru Bakir was there and filed in the following report.